Welcome back to Business Morning, a very special edition this Friday. And yesterday I said it's going to be, thank God, it's Friday with crude oil prices at $70 a barrel. Let's cross over to our Abuja studios where Professor Uche Uwaleke, who is an associate professor of finance at the National State University, is standing by. Good morning, Professor. It's good to have you on the program.
Yeah, good morning, Boasin. Nice to be here.
Thank you very much. You know, this was all late night preparations and arrangement, so you couldn't get one of this. But we're keeping one of these for you here, and I've got to make sure it gets to you.
I was going to make the observation. There's none before me here.
I'm sorry. We're very, very hospitable at the Abuja studios, just as the way we are in Lagos and everywhere Channels Television is. But of course, this was late night yesterday when we were able to get you into the conversation because our crude oil was at $70 a barrel. Thank you very much. We're going to send these one way or the other to you in Abuja. This is yours, marked for you, for the 70. You can just keep it when it gets to 140 maybe, or just drink it now. We don't know when we'll see 140 again. Dolapo Oni is here from Lagos studios. Dolapo Oni is from EcoBank. He's the head of energy research. Thank you. Let's have your first word, as it were. And it's good to get together for the first time in 2018 about the current oil price rally.
Yeah, thanks very much, and Happy New Year. It's really something to cheer about, being an oil producing country. Over 90% of our forex earnings come from crude. So if oil price is rising, there is every reason to to be happy about it. Of course, you've mentioned some of the factors driving the rise in oil price, notably the OPEC, non-OPEC output cut agreement, the fact, too, that there's a general optimism about a global world economy, which is also why the World Bank predicted an increase in oil demand, by about 1.5 million barrels per day in 2018, aside the supply issues, disruptions in Venezuela, disruptions in Libya, and, of course, the current ongoing anti-government protest in Iran. Okay, so all these are likely to, get the oil price over in excess of $60 per barrel. But of course, too, that it also has its own flip sides. The Iranian minister the other day was concerned about it and was saying that he wouldn't subscribe to oil price going above the $60 per barrel because of the potential threat from the U.S. shale. And that's why we really have to be careful how we handle this increase in oil price. Yes, another opportunity has presented itself, just as you rightly mentioned. The last time we saw this was in 2014. This time around, there is need for us to put something aside to have a fiscal buffer. Of course, the 2018 budget was based on $45 per barrel, and right now it's before the National Assembly for passage. The temptation would be to hike the budget oil reference price from 45 to something in excess of 50. The temptation is there. But we can also use this to reduce the fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficits in the budget deficit for 2018 is about 2 trillion naira. That's 1.7% of GDP. In my view, because it is still far less than the 3% recommended by the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007, we should leave it the way it is. We should move fast to get the budget passed, and then see how we can put aside any, if you like, windfall, as fiscal buffer. We have the Sovereign Wealth Fund, and the good thing is that the fund has a component called Infrastructure Fund, aside the Stabilization Fund and the Future Generation Fund. There's the Infrastructure Fund, so we can put this excess aside now, because you never can tell. Nobody envisaged in 2014, when oil price was as high as $100 per barrel. Remember, about March in 2014, it rose to as high as $114 per barrel. And nobody envisaged that it could crash, experience this sudden crash. And this is an economy that depends on oil, as I said earlier. Unfortunately, it depends solely on oil. So we shouldn't say because oil price is increasing, therefore we should increase, the budget. I wouldn't subscribe to that because, as I said, the oil price is exogenously determined. We have little or no control over it. And one of the principles guiding budget presentation is that of conservatism. You don't anticipate what you don't already have. So if we had control over crude oil price, for example, okay, you could do that, but we don't have control over it. We are happy that there is relative peace in the Niger Delta, and we are able to do, as we speak, about 2.25 million barrels per day. So that's close to 2.3 million barrels per day provided in the 2018 budget. So if oil price stays the way it is, and from all indications, it's going to be between $50 and $60 per barrel. At least that's from what we know from projections by the Energy Information Administration and even the International Energy Agency and some even rating agencies and investment banks. The predictions are that oil price will stay above $50 per barrel. We can't afford to do something higher than that because, as I said, it's something we can't control. Russia, one of the major oil producers, used $40 per barrel.
Professor,
it's 2017-2019.
I like that. And respectfully, to cut in there very quickly, we just want to show. Dolapo brought in a few infographics here, one or two of them, to show the inversion and the correlation, if you want to put it that way, between the price of crude and the Nigerian currency. And I watched this on Bloomberg, which is a bit of a repeat earlier today, how international traders and investors say they are bullish on Nigerian naira along with other few African currencies like the Egyptian pound. But let's just say there. Let's bring in Dolapo, the head of energy research at EcoBank, live here in Lagos, to explain this to us. I'm seeing the blue line.
Which is the Brent price.
Which is the
Brent crude price.
This is the ICE Brent price. Okay. Yeah. And the orange...
which is the NSE, Nigerian Stock Exchange All-Share Index, actually.
Okay. So
what I'm trying to bring out here is we ran a correlation test just last year as well, and we discovered that there's a 97% correlation between the crude oil price and the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the All-Share Index. Now, I mean, it probably goes without saying that a lot of our activity on the Nigerian Stock Exchange right now is driven by foreign investors. They actually outweigh the local investors.
With the high earning window.
Yeah, because we have the high earning window. And since the high earning window specifically kicked off again last year, we've seen a lot more interest in the stock exchange. But most of that interest has tallied exactly with the situation with the Brent crude price, because our ability or the ability of those foreign investors to exit the market has been driven by the fact that how much dollars do we have available, and how do we get our dollars? The bulk of our dollars come from crude oil. So that relationship is very basic. And one of the reasons why I was excited with the situation is that you could actually see the relationship. It was actually very clear that, look, part of what was really driving the activity we're seeing on the stock exchange in Nigeria is the fact that we actually have higher crude oil prices. And so foreign investors are more confident in our ability to allow them exit from the market, so they are more confident to also invest in the market, and we're seeing that performance.
So oil is what is oiling
pretty much.
It is FX to and this is one of our viewers, and I'm throwing this at you. I'm sure you listened to Professor Walike there.